So a couple weeks ago, Logan Paul mentioned that he was buying Pokemon cards, that he had dropped at least 60K on Pokemon cards. Now, just 4 days ago, he posted on Instagram which cards he bought. I found this interesting since I've been getting a lot into Pokemon cards. Gary Vaynerchuk has been pushing a lot of people, including Logan, to see them as an investment. And now the market's become kind of a bubble. There's a lot of frenzy, so it's maybe a dangerous time to buy. And I wanted to kind of review his cards he bought and kind of let you know if they were good cards, bad cards, great decisions, bad ones. So first off, this is very fascinating. When I heard 60K, I was kind of intrigued. With Logan Paul's net worth, I'm assuming he's in the millions. 60K is not much to him, and I feel like he could afford more. He said he bought like 10 cards, around several cards. He said 10, but it turns out to be several for 60K. And I'm thinking, if you have that budget, why split it up, 10K a piece? Like, you should get the kind of gem jewels. And so, what I'm saying is, rather than a PSA 9 first edition Charizard, get a PSA 10. Essentially, though, I still don't think none of these are bad choices or bad investments. Like, really, I mean, I think they're good choices overall. But I think if he could have got a PSA 10 first edition, like that would have been the crown jewel, and that investment would have gone up even more. I'm assuming he didn't because that one is just so hard to get for a Charizard that even with his budget, he couldn't find it on the market, which makes sense. So this is like the next best thing in that realm. Now let's move on to the second card he revealed he bought. This is the 1999 Blastoise Hollow Shadowless Gem 10. Now this time it's PSA 10, so it's the finest mint condition you can get. But it's not first edition set. It's the next set after that, Shadowless. So same thing. It's like almost the best of the best of the best, but one notch down. It's the next set over. This time he compromised in terms of set versus the mint condition. Also, I'm thinking this is more so about market availability. He probably couldn't find the first edition PSA 10 Blastoise on the market. Still a fantastic pickup. I mean, both of those two, probably like extremely good pickups. These are choices that I would get if I had the budget. I'm sure they're going to go up in value, but I'm talking long term. Like with such commodity stuff like this, there's going to be a frenzy, especially with Logan posting about it. Look at that, 500,000 likes. There already has been a surge in the last 5-6 months of just frenzy buying. And there might come a crash, but then after that crash happens, because it's commodity buying basically. It's dependent on someone else asking for a higher price. And we've seen crashes before, we've seen bubbles before in this market and other markets. But I think these will hold. If I had to choose anything to hold their value, these first two cards would be the ones. Ideally, if you could get it first edition PSA 10, because there's just so few supply of these out there. So I think these were good pickups. Let's move on to his next choice. So I think these are good pickups as well. Honestly, if personal preference and in terms of like just squeezing out the most investment based on your knowledge of the card industry, I would have rather focused on just getting as many Charizards as possible if you're just looking at it from the Gary V investment perspective. However, these are good pickups as well. I would have focused on the Red Cheeks since that one is harder to get. But I mean, once again, these are the best of the best. You can tell he's going for the highest quality PSA 10 first edition. As a quick explainer video, there's other videos that kind of explain what that means, but in general, PSA 10, that's the grading service. 10 out of 10 is the highest condition. First edition means the first ever set printed. You can tell by the markings here. And then red cheeks, that's the rarer one. Now, these are also great pickups. I think it's good for him to diversify. And when you have that Pokemon knowledge, you should. Frankly, with his budget, I would have spent more than 60K. I mean, I would have gotten a few Charizards in addition to this as well. Not just one. I mean, I might as well have cornered that market there. Now, this one probably is going to be, he says it's his favorite. And so Pokemon is also just about enjoying the cards and holding them, not just investing. From an investment perspective, this one is probably going to climb the least in value in the short term and long term. Just because it's not generally a market favorite, but you can tell this is a personal favorite, Alakazam. And that's the same way with me. There's cards that I've bought recently, like a Dragonite. I'm a huge fan of the Dragonite card. I bought one that Logan has as well, but also I've bought ones that are just personally sentimental, like the Mew and Dragonite with the satchel from the first ever movie. I went to the movie, but they weren't handing them out, and so sentimentally that's very valuable for me. But that satchel Dragonite and the Pikachu and Mew Dragonite, Ancient Mew, will not go up at all in value. You can get them for $3 on eBay because they were just printed to oblivion. I'm keeping them, and I bought them for sentimental reasons, not so much for value. Now, since this is a base set first edition Holo Alakazam PSA 10, it's going to go up still. It's still an investment, but I like that he bought this more so for sentimental. Now this one, I have this one, but not in first edition. I have the exact same card, Fossil Dragonite Holo PSA 9, but it's not in first edition. That's just what I could purchase with my budget. It cost me $200 to get that. For him, this card's probably much more. It probably cost thousands to get because it's first edition. And it's the second set after base set. It's Fossil. I'm surprised he didn't get that in PSA 10, but I'm assuming it's the same thing. Just based off the cards he's getting, I'm assuming that he had a limited window, maybe a couple weeks, to do his shopping, and he didn't want to wait for one to come on the market because they're so scarce on the market that it probably didn't even show up on eBay. So he probably just bought this right there and then. Based off like the cards he's buying, I think he bought these himself. He didn't have some expert come in and buy them for him, which I would love to help him do. But regardless, another great pickup here. This is just a personal favorite for me. I mean, this dragon is up there with Dragonite for me. I'm really surprised he didn't get the 10. I feel like if he waited, he could have found the 10 first edition on the market. I don't think it's that rare, but still a great pickup. This is more so kind of moving outside the realm of Gary V knowledge on Pokemon. Gary is very knowledgeable in sports cards, but you could tell he's very conservative on Pokemon. Similar to me in the sense that I would maybe only buy a Michael Jordan PSA 10 because that's all I would know about sports and be confident enough to buy as an investment. But from a sentimental perspective, I mean, it's just a great card. Gyarados Holo first edition signed by Mitsuhiro Arito. Now, keep in mind, there's all sorts of different people that could sign this. A lot of people just think, okay, that's the only guy who could sign it. That's the only one who's valuable. Well, you could also have the creator of Pokemon sign it. I believe that's just the illustrator, one of the illustrators of Pokemon. Still very valuable when it's signed. It's a whole other category when you're talking signed Pokemon cards. That makes it goes up in value a lot. Then you have to check to make sure it's not counterfeit and so forth. But That's one of the big people that could sign it. I personally would prefer the Pokemon creator, the creator of Pokemon, to sign it, but those are just like so hard to get. He's still alive for now, but if you look talking Magic the Gathering autographs are now scarcer than ever, and cards are worth so much, $250,000, because some of the people who autographed it are dead now. So, long story short, great pickup. I mean, we're talking best of the best. I mean, this is the first set, I believe, where Gyarados gets printed. I think it's base set, 10 first edition. In terms of Gyarados, I mean, this is as expensive as it can get. It's the best as you can get with this type of dragon. It's hollow, it's mint condition, it's first edition, it's base set. There's, and then it's signed. And some cards have a non-hollow variant, which kind of like plays on things, because then there's 4 variants you can get. First edition, hollow, first edition, non-hollow, or just hollow and non-hollow. So this is the best you can get, and, you know, props to him for getting it. This is like one of my personal favorite dragons as well. Really such a love for the game. Now I can see Tan among you commenting that you're such a nerd, so quirky. I mean, I don't fully appreciate that comment myself, because I love Pokemon, and that doesn't mean that I'm weird or nerdy. It's such a mainstream hobby at this point. Pokemon makes more money than Star Wars, almost by 2x. So, and Star Wars is super mainstream. So I don't know. I just personally don't like it when people are like insulting. But maybe I'm taking it the wrong way. Like, she's being playful, maybe. And these are very mainstream cards. Like, he's not really dabbling or risking anything that can be risky, like modern sets or Greninjas or Hidden Fates Charizard or any of the these are all very solid, safe pickups, really. And then finally, the Chansey. For some reason, he decided to go with Beckett instead for this one. Maybe he couldn't find it in PSA. Still not a good pickup. I'd only do Beckett if it's PSA 10. Beckett, from what I can tell in the market, they're only better or more acknowledged when you get a 10 from a Beckett, because they grade harder on 10s. But I'm assuming same type of thing. He couldn't find it in the market. I love a good Chansey. I mean, this is almost best of the best. If he could have got this in 10, like, what more can you ask for? Now, the Chansey's, more of a diversified pick. It's still in the realm of safe investments and collection items, but it's probably going to go up the lowest, comparable to Alakazam, if it goes up at all. Venusaur, I mean, it's missing the first edition, so this is probably like, it's the next best thing once again. With Logan's budget and his brand, I'm surprised he just didn't wait it out and just get everything seamlessly the same, like first edition, PSA 10, Evolve them. But you could tell he compromised a bit because they probably weren't in the market. They weren't readily available to be sold on the market. And then, of course, he's got the first edition Legendary Birds, Hollow from Fossil, PSA 9s. I mean, once again, a small compromise. They could have been 10s. But yeah, these are great pickups. I would love to have the birds as well. With my budget, I can't get them graded. I mean, I'd have to buy them ungraded on the market just to collect them for sentimental reasons. So, a lot of things here I would love to have, but with my budget, I'm not going to get them. At least not signed, not first edition, and not graded at all. Just like out of the case. So these are just good things for me to look at, but you could tell that they're generally like solid, safe pickups, and a bit more so than Gary V. I think Gary's like very conservative. I think he's only bought in the Charizard and Mewtwo, but you can tell like these are solid pickups. And then he posted this 21 hours ago, and he posted how much he paid for it. This is the first edition base set booster box. He bought it for $200K. I think it's a solid investment piece, honestly. Jay Alvarez is saying, making a joke, down payment on house. Now this is it's a number of things for Logan in this case. It's a status flex, but it's also he's looking at it as an investment. It's gonna go up, but probably not as much as people think, given the current hotness of the market. It's starting to become too hot. It's a bit of a frenzy right now, but it's gonna go up. I think this box is gonna go up in value. I think it's a solid pickup. I would not open that. Some people are asking, are you gonna open it? And you could tell these are his influencer friends or acquaintances that don't really know much about Pokemon. So they don't know. You can open it, but that's a risk. That's unless you're PokeRev and you have a business out of it and you could sell what you open, it's a risky thing to open that set. Or you just want to do it for sentimental value or YouTube views. You'll get a lot of YouTube views opening that, and you could perhaps make it back in advertising costs. But you can tell here now he's pulled the trigger once again. He bought this thing, he announced it on his podcast a few weeks ago, and now he spent more on this booster box. I mean, this is the number one booster box you can get. The prices are insane right now for booster boxes, and it was a good pickup in my opinion. I don't think I don't think he alone with his purchases are swaying the market. I mean, there's just so much other collectors out there, some anonymous who are much richer than Logan, who are picking up, we're talking entire set, first edition, everything from the base set, framing it on their walls. So on his purchases alone, I don't think he's swaying the market. What I do think is happening is when he posts about this, when he posts it on Instagram, there's going to be, 250,000. Oh, Pokecard 9. I follow this guy. That was a very good, yeah. He knows what he's talking about, yeah. So yeah, these are good purchases. But I think the followers of his, if they merge into the market, then we're going to see a frenzy. And if they start moving out into other cards, not just these staples, but all the other stuff, the Weedles, the Kadabras, the Magnetons, the other sets, Fossil, Jungle, which we're already seeing happening long before Logan Paul moved into the market. In June, July, May. I mean, the market's hot right now, maybe too hot. Prices have been soaring, so we'll see what happens. It's really his influencership that I'm worried about more so than his purchases himself. And what I'm most worried about is the kind of lack of knowledge to investment about it. Commodities are tricky. You never know what's going to happen. People just think, oh, it's assuredly going to go up because it went up before. But, on what basis? And they're making up reasons, but there's, there has to be some intrinsic value to it that you can be confident about. And with commodities, unlike a business, you're ultimately depending on someone else willing to spend more on it at a later point in time. And we've seen crashes with Pokemon in price before and so forth. So for me personally, I'm cautious going in. I'm optimistic, but very cautious as others flood into the market. So we'll see what happens. Nonetheless, I would love to keep some of these things I've bought just for sentimental reasons. So, I'm confident with the brand. I'm confident with my cards, and we'll see what happens.